Hello there everybody, my name is JerDude, today here to do a new Q&A. I totally forgot to do one of these in February unfortunately, so we are here now, quite a bit after the last one, but I'm gonna try to do one of these once a month as I originally planned. But with that said, thank you all to everyone who submitted questions, and let's get right on into them. From CROTA of Sons of ORYX. For the Q&A, he says, if you were to make a Titan, what weapon would it use, and would it be a he or a she? What would the loadout be? What kind of role would it have? A really strong attacker, or a support maybe? Well, I did put a bit of thought into this, and I would really love something that's incredibly fast, and I'm not just talking about Ronin or Northstar's agility. No, I'm talking about something much faster than that, that can go around the map in a very, very brief period of time. I don't really think the gender matters, to be honest, but besides that, I would love to see some dual-wield weapons, a couple dual-wield shotguns or something like that would be crazy to have, where you were able to very quickly traverse the map, get very close to the enemies and just unload on them and then disappear in an instant. But at the same time, if you got hit for more than like 3 or 4 seconds, you'd be totally done for. I know it sounds ridiculous and I don't think it would work practically, but I'd love to see some more wild card Titans such as that, maybe in Titanfall 3 to get some crazy stuff like that happening. But anyways, I don't know if that was the best and most thought out answer, but that was what I came up with. Next question is from Fishcake. Question: I scream every time someone kills me when they are camped behind their amped wall with a devotion. Please, JerDude, how do I become a potato? You ever heard of a little story about this mouse called Ronaldo? Now, Ronaldo the mouse, let me tell you something. He was quite the quickster, quite the sly mouse, I'll tell you that much. Now, this little mouse, Ronaldo the mouse, he was actually in a pretty similar situation. He was so devoted to the act of camping itself, like literal camping, that he was so amped up and on the fantastic hype that when he went to go grab a bag of potato chips, he said, "What am I doing? I should be playing Titanfall 2 instead." Ocean Man. Question: are you a real villain? Well, do you think my videos have done any good for this world? XX Delta Gaming. I fell down the stairs today. How about you? So, if you're unaware, Delta is a regular in the live streams. He's quite a vocal person, so he's definitely become very memorable in the live streams. But anyways, he's always tweeting at me about falling up or down the stairs, and I recommended to him to either just live on a single-story house whenever he's able to buy his own, or get ramps installed, but then he said he'd still slide up and down the ramps. So maybe getting an elevator as well, that's obviously pretty expensive. Obviously that's not what he asked, but I just figured I wanted to address this publicly, because Delta, you really need to get the whole stair situation figured out. But I am doing pretty good, thank you for asking. Just a Jake Bob. Q&A. Do you believe Titanfall 2 will last past 1 year like Titanfall 1? I enjoy this game, but I believe Battlefield 4 will last longer from now than TF2. Wow, do you seriously? Battlefield 4? I mean, I presume you possibly mean Battlefield 1, because that's the current Battlefield. Battlefield 1 will definitely outlast Titanfall 2. I don't really know about much about Battlefield 4's current population, but with that said, Respawn has said in the past that they are planning to support Titanfall 2 for 2 years after release. At this point, we are now 4.5 months, or well, not even, less than that. It's a little over 4 months into the game, so we still have quite a while until we get to that 2-year point, and then I imagine by the time we get to that 2-year time, Titanfall 3 will hopefully be announced by then, so then hype will start to build for that. But yeah, I really do think Titanfall 2 at this point, it has a fairly stable population, especially on the consoles. It's kind of been hovering in the low 10,000s at this point, but it hasn't, I mean, it does go up on the weekends, and it doesn't really seem to go below too often unless it's pretty late at night, and it's been like that for the last little while. So I think the Titanfall 2 population is going to be around for quite some time, definitely by the time the year anniversary comes around. Steel Razorblade / Adam SRB. Why did you sound like BT at the start of the video? So with this particular video, I took questions. I forget what video it was, but anyways, at the beginning of it, I asked for questions, and I had this little intro that had me sounding all robotic. Like, I've received some other questions like this just in general in the past, because if you're aware with my Titanfall Legends videos, at the beginning and end, for my intro and outro, I have this sort of robotic voice effect that a lot of people refer to as BT, and the way I do that, just to give a quick breakdown, is I just copy the original recording track, slightly delay it, make it a little quieter, and add a bunch of bass to it, and doing that, sort of having the delay between the first and second track, it makes it sound kind of robotic, and that's really all that I do. It's not anything too complicated. It takes like 15 seconds at the most. Well, the reason I started doing it, I suppose I should mention, is that when I was starting at Titanfall Legends, I thought that Jackson Dales, the owner of the channel and other co-host, I thought that his standby for Titanfall at the end just sounded so much better than mine, so I decided, let's add this robotic effect to give it some more oomph, some more epicness. So that's why I started doing it, and people liked it, so I was like, well, I guess I'll keep it around. So that's kind of how that came to be. Julian S.A. for Q&A. Answer honestly, do you like Jewel? Absolutely. I actually used to watch Jewel's videos for a while, a few years ago, back when she was a part of Optic. If you're unaware, she was an Optic. The gaming clan, I guess is the way to describe them. They also have YouTube stuff, of course. Anyways, they're very well known in the Call of Duty community, and I used to watch her back in the day. Nowadays, I don't personally watch a whole lot of YouTube, so with that said, I don't usually watch a whole lot of her stuff, but that's just because I don't really watch that much YouTube, as I just mentioned. But yeah, I think she's great. I like the idea of the series that we have going on Titanfall Legends right now. I'm not sure how successful it's been in terms of getting other FPS players that are unaware of Titanfall to actually play the game, but she's very nice. I've only briefly spoken with her once, and that was over a Twitch chat, but yeah, she's very nice. Standard Toaster, what is your favorite Titanfall 2 game mode and map? Game mode at this point is Last Titan Standing. It, for the longest time, has always been, for a while it was Amped Hardpoint, but I've really recently started to take a liking to Last Titan Standing. It's definitely been my most played game mode. It kind of started as I've have been doing these guide videos for Titans over on Titanfall Legends, so I thought, well, just to get as much experience as possible and to record gameplay fast, let's play Last Titan Standing. And ever since I started doing that, I just really started to enjoy the game mode more in general. So yeah, right now it's Last Titan Standing. For maps, I would say Exoplanet. I love the art of it. It looks so beautiful, and the way it's designed, I think works out pretty well. I do like that there is kind of a split of the 3 main lanes, kind of in the center portion between the 2 buildings. I'm not exactly describing it the best, but I like the way it plays out. Also, the back areas you can escape to, sort of in like the caves, I guess. You know, I'm sure you all know what I'm talking about. But yeah, definitely Exoplanet. I think it plays very well for all game modes and all play styles. Retro Gamer ZX0. Also, how many times do you mess up intros/outros for both TFL and JerDude, mixing up the 2 channels? That has literally never happened until I read this question, and I did it for the first time ever just, well, like a few days ago, just right after I read this question. So yeah, that's my answer. It actually never happened before. I have a lot of mess-ups, and well, for all the Titanfall Legends videos, they're all scripted, and I have a very absurd amount of cuts between almost every breath. I have an edit because I often mess up lines, or I want to say something a little differently, so I spend a lot of time redoing lines in general. But for intros and outros, I've always done them just fine, except for just very recently because of this question. But anyways, thank you for the question. Next up, we have 2 questions from 2 different people, but they're pretty similar, so I'm going to group them together. The Red Penguin, do you want Respawn to carry on the Titanfall series, or do you think they will? And John Grant, with TF2 performance just now, do you think there will be a 3rd installment? I certainly hope so. If so, what do you think they can do to improve the foundation of the first 2 games? Yes, I think Respawn will make a Titanfall 3. There has been some uncertainty in the community. At this point, all that Respawn has said in terms of the future of Titanfall is that they're unsure themselves, but they would like to, I believe, is something like that. Vince Zampella, the CEO, says something very similar to that, well, at least to that effect. And I think Titanfall 1 and 2 are absolutely incredible games. They, of course, have their differences, and with Titanfall 1, I just want to say that I played it the other day for the first time, and I actually recorded my first couple matches, and those will be going up on Friday here on the channel. And the game felt incredible, just as good as I remembered, and I think you can't make a lot of arguments for why it is better than the second game, but then at the same time with the second game, it does play faster, and I think it's a little more accessible. It's more forgiving to let new players enter into the game and actually get accustomed with it, as opposed to Titanfall 1, where if you weren't good at the movement system and you're just brand new, you would get absolutely wrecked, which is still true to a certain extent to Titanfall 2. If you're a skilled player, you will be rewarded, unlike in Call of Duty, 3, where in the past they've had death streak or other rewards essentially for doing bad in order to make the game feel more balanced in between, or well, just I guess to lessen the skill gap, which is not a thing in Titanfall, the series, fortunately. But with Titanfall 3, just really more content. I think the way the gameplay feels in Titanfall 2 is better and once again more accessible for more people to get interested in the series. But yeah, just more content, more of an incentive to actually level up, have a bigger level cap, because I know a lot of people hit it very fast. I'm considering making a video on this, but I think that Titanfall 2 was rushed in that for example, with the private match, it's still in beta. There is a very limited amount of maps, only 9 at launch, and with DLC at this point, there's obviously various reasons, but I think that Respawn was planning for the game to be more of a success and have more funding, I don't know, something like that. I think they had more plans for just building the game after launch that kind of fell through because of the lack of success. But I'm really getting sidetracked off your question. But for Titanfall 3, just more content is my answer. I know some people will be like, well, no, that's not always the answer, but no, I really, just for me, if there was more of a reason to actually regen, besides just cosmetic items, then I would certainly do it. Damian Martinez, are you a dude? Jer, OZZIE plays. Question, what is the best video game you've ever played? I'm not entirely sure how to answer this question because my favorite game of all time is Crash Bandicoot. Well, I'd say the first 3 games. I love them so much, and there definitely is a lot of nostalgia playing into it, but I did play them fairly recently and I still love them so much. Are they the best games of all time? I mean, I love them a whole lot, but then there's other games that I adore as well, such as Call of Duty. I mean, the older ones, Black Ops, I thought was the peak of the series. Well, I thought Black Ops 2 was very fantastic as well, but I spent a lot of time playing those. Even other PlayStation platformers such as Sly Cooper and Ratchet & Clank I really dug back in the day. The Uncharted series always has a special place in my heart. I don't know, I don't think there's the best video game. I couldn't answer that. There's a lot of games I enjoy. I guess I just kind of listed some of my favorites for you. I don't know. That's the only answer I have. RYANKGAMING, is YouTube your full-time job? No, it's not. Currently, I'm a student just finishing up my final year of school, and with that said, right now YouTube is all that I have for a job. Although I really don't like to think about it like that. But yeah, it is my only source of income as of right now. And for what I'm going to be doing after school, well, I do want to focus on YouTube because I really want to work in entertainment. At the same time, I'm also going out finally and trying to look for local jobs to do, whether it be some sort of voiceover work or even if it's just being like an assistant or something, like an internship. I'm just starting to look out as I do want to work in entertainment. So what I'm doing for now is just focusing on YouTube. I don't know if the channel is going to get a lot bigger. I'm not going to bet on that at all because YouTube is not you should never put your future into YouTube because of how uncertain it is, and so yeah, I think right after school, as soon as I finish, I'm just going to be getting a part-time job, working like 20 hours a week or something like that, and then also doing YouTube, and I should be able to cruise by for now. Up next, we have a few questions about music. First 2 I'm gonna pair together is from ZANEE or Zane. Q&A question: what genres of music do you enjoy listening to? And then CMAN 24, what is your favorite genre of music, favorite artist? I really love pop music in general, which some of you may be like, what? That's alright. But no, but I really do love pop music. I mean, Michael Jackson is my favorite artist of all time. From bands, I enjoy Coldplay, but then at the same time, I do like to venture out. Like Tool is another favorite band of mine, obviously very far away from pop music. Also a lot of hip-hop like Kendrick Lamar, even Drake, The Weeknd, R&B stuff like Bruno Mars. Yeah, I'd say right now it's mostly pop and hip-hop predominantly that I'm into. Actually, I threw together my favorite albums. I don't know if it's the most accurate, I'm probably forgetting some things, but I'll put it up on the screen. These just kind of give you an idea. I love Kanye West, I forgot to mention him as well. I think my current favorite living artist is Kanye West. And then after that, we have 3 questions from 3 different people, still on topic of music, but about making music, because I mentioned in the video where I asked for questions that I do work on some music stuff. From FPS Nick 13, what type, I presume he means, of music do you make? If it's rap, I'm going to kill you, LOL, that'd be so weird. Flamespear 135, hey JerDude, sorry the songs thing just got my attention. I haven't been a subscriber too long, namely when you became a co-host for TFL, so I didn't know you were planning that. Anyways, just a few quick questions. Where will you release the songs? YouTube, YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, and would you be willing to upload a track for us to listen to before you really get into it? Thank you very much, and I love your stuff. And then finally, Fall Boys, you make music, what do you do? Sing, rap, play an instrument, and where can I hear some of your music currently? I'm a producer, and I'm good at remixing, also if you want to collab. Well, thank you for all the questions about the music stuff. I didn't actually think we'd get that big of a response, but yeah, I do some music. It's pretty similar to my tastes, mostly pop stuff, well, predominantly pop. I definitely have some hip-hop influence, but I'm not really rapping, or I mean, I have written some rap stuff, but it's by far and large pop music where I'm singing. And in terms of like sounds and such that I use, quite a variety. I've done some more industrial stuff, some kind of tropical music, some maybe more like folky, indie stuff, jazz influence. I'm just messing around with a lot of sounds right now, trying to get something that works together. I have this one track that I actually wrote the lyrics for almost a year ago, not quite, but kind of at the beginning, or at the end of the spring last year. It's called Sugar Sweet, and I think that might be the song I'm going to try to finish in terms of production-wise, because I have all the lyrics done and such, and I think it's a fairly well-written song. It's not too cringy, or I think the lyrics are pretty good, actually. Just my biggest problem with putting out music, which by the way, there's no music, there's no like finished tracks out there, because I'm really a perfectionist, and just the problem is I have all these ideas in my head and I know how I want them to sound, but I still don't have the skills to actually make what I want like into reality in terms of figuring out how to program stuff, because I do pretty much do all my music digitally in terms of using virtual instruments and such. But I mean, I'm trying to make them sound as realistic and as good as possible. So it's just kind of been a perfectionist issue, but I think I'm just going to say whatever. I know this is not perfect. I'm just going to put it out there because I know some people, well, I mean, I hope some people will like it, and I'm sure they won't hear all the problems that I hear. So yeah, I want to get a song out here this spring. From the one part from Flame Spear 135, where he mentioned if I could post a track before I release it. I don't think I'll do that, but I have recently been trying to work on a little bit of music every day, and usually it's just kind of a short loop once a day is at least what I'm trying to do. So I guess I'll quickly play you something that I threw together like in 15 minutes earlier today. So anyways, yeah, I'm not going to do anything with that, I don't think, but that, I mean, I just wanted, if you wanted to hear something, yeah, it's definitely all pop focused at this point, essentially. And I'm also messing around with a lot of summery sounds as we are starting to enter summer here, at least getting pretty close. And I'm sure by the time some of these songs will be done, it'll be summer anyways. But then for where I'm releasing them, should be everywhere. I have this service that allows me to upload everything to Spotify, iTunes, Tidal, Apple Music, Google Play Music, and the YouTube, of course, and whatever other services. I'll put it up to SoundCloud as well. So yeah, it should be everywhere. I want to get something out very soon. I have a spring break coming up, and I think I'm going to be gone visiting some friends for a little bit, but I will have a few days at least, and at that time I'm just going to put a lot of it towards trying to finish a song. So very soon. I'm currently aiming for sometime in May. I'm not going to make any promises, but yeah, I really want to get something out soon. But thank you so much for the questions. That probably went on for way too long. And Fall Boys, if you want to send me something, some sort of other work you have, maybe we could do something together in the future. Thank you. But now let's wrap up with the last 3 questions, starting off with Peter Babalo Q&A. Did you play any Battlefront? And are you excited for Battlefront 2? Yes, I did play Battlefront, the game that came out at the end of 2015. I enjoyed it, but it just felt like a very shallow game. The gameplay got kind of boring for me, and I don't know, just the content didn't seem to be there wasn't just too much to unlock and to do. So I got pretty bored of the game, and I haven't really touched it at all since like the first launch, or well, a couple of months after launch. But I am looking forward to Battlefront 2. I believe it is supposed to come out later this year. I'm sure I'll buy it. I don't know if I have too much to say, as I really haven't played it in like a year at this point. Next up, we have KillerTatorTot. Question: JerDude, which platform do you prefer to play on? And do you have networks for each? Xbox specifically. As of now, I'm trying to direct my time towards PlayStation 4, as I decided I'm going to be trying to finally regen, because I've always been against regenning, because I just thought it was pretty useless. But with that said, I'm just going to be regenning on PS4 finally. But I do also try to split my time to the other platforms as well, Xbox and PC, so you will see me on all platforms. But yeah, predominantly PS4 right now, and I always play on the Titanfall Legends network, when I'm not live streaming. So yeah, just find me there, search Titanfall Legends. I believe there's some copies out there, some fakes. It's just the biggest network on all platforms. We never got our networks verified, which I mentioned to Jax, but he never said anything about it, so I don't know if we're gonna get them verified. But yeah, just search Titanfall Legends, the biggest network out of them, and that's where I always play on all platforms. And then finally, Bruno Capdano. Is grapple still your primary, or are you switching to phase? Well, I thank you for noticing, I guess. Thank you for being that observant. I would never be that observant of anything like that. But yes, I've actually been using phase a whole lot more than grapple. I really did like grapple for a while, but with live fire, I really gave phase a chance, and ever since then, I've come to love it a whole lot more than grapple, at least as of now. So yeah, I think it's more useful for the way I was using it in terms of getting in and out of risky situations, mostly getting out of situations. It did kind of depend on the grapple for movement in terms of getting me up in the air, but at this point I've gotten better at the movement system in general. I finally got down slide hopping for the most part, and so I'm better with that overall. So yeah, I've definitely been using phase shift a whole lot more as of recent. Thank you so much everyone for the questions. I'm so sorry if I did not get to yours, but I did try to answer as many as possible, but I don't want this video to go too crazy long. With that said, I want to try to do these once a month, preferably at the beginning of the month, so next one should be out in like a little over 3 weeks from now. I'll be sure to let you all know about a week before that goes up to submit your questions for the future one. But thank you all so much. Have yourself an absolutely fantastic day. My name is JerDude, and goodbye.